So Mike and I met. He was one of the people that recruited me to come to Palm in 2000, 2001, probably the winter of 2001. He was on the board. He was one of the board members. I think he'd gone in with Jim Barksdale, and we became everything fast, right? We became very close friends. We became very close, I'll say, business associates. Mike was far more than just a board member. He obviously had his fiduciary duties as a board member he took very seriously, but Mike was very focused on, at that time, how do we create a product lineup that reinvigorated the business. 2001 wasn't a high point in the history of Palm, as you may or may not remember. We had pretty significant challenges. Well, look, I think there were a whole host of things. You clearly had to recognize his brilliance from a product perspective, but from the ability to see products and how they could become mainstream and very, very relevant to society. You know, as Mike and I, worked on building a team, and he was very focused on the product aspect of a team. And we had an enormous amount of work to do as we reinvigorated Palm, reset, rebuilt, whatever word you want to use. So, you know, Mike had business brilliance. He had a personality that was engaging, somewhere between contributory and argumentative, but that's why we loved him. But he wasn't so fixated that he couldn't change his mind, and he argued with facts, right? And he accepted facts. Well, look, I think there was a combination of exceptional fun, he had a huge set of interests, from technology to media, obviously to sports. He loved the Giants. I think he loved the 49ers, but I know he loved the Giants. And there was a combination of kind of casual excellence that went with Mike wherever he went, from his, you know, Tommy Bahama's shirts to, you know, the disarming nature of his wardrobe, to the brilliance of his ideas and his thought process and his ability to drive execution. So I don't think I have an unusual. Yeah. I think that's. I think all that was very usual with Mike. Look, one of the most interesting sessions he and I ever had was, I'll use the term fixed. We'd made Palm sustainable, but at the time, the PDA market, the unconnected market, was declining pretty dramatically. And we had to, in today's term, pivot into segments that were viable. And so we very much looked at the iPod and the smartphone categories and said, where do we go? And Mike and I actually spent a Thursday afternoon at a Giants game trying to figure this out. And out of that Giants game came the strategy to go buy Handspring and launch the Trio. Mike and I think for over 8 years, you know, we'd hang out at his house or the Old Pro somewhere once a week and do the gamut of, you know, what Jimmy was doing to what was going on at Palm, to who were the competitors we need to think about. So, you know, the combination of carry-out food and a good bottle of wine always spurned lots of innovation. You know, it was like one of the more terrifying discussions I thought I was going to have. As I thought about it, I thought, now how am I going to call Mike Homer and tell him I've gone to HP? And when I called Mike, he was, I'll use the word invigorated. Look, I'll tell you what, I called Mike and told him I was going to HP, I was going to run the PC business. And he went out and bought like 5 PCs, tore them down, and then called me to come see him so we could go through what needed to be done. So, and Mike and I worked together. We did a lot of work at HP on what we called the managed home, because Mike was very big into what was the name of the company, the media company he'd started? Contiki. Yeah, Mike was real involved in Contiki. We'd just done one of the first smart TVs, which was a TV with a Linux kernel, and you could do all kinds of things other than sell it, which was a challenge. But So Mike worked with me through that up until the point he got sick. A lot of work on really how we reset the mobile product line, the notebook product line, which led to an enormous amount of success for us. Well, first, to this day, there's still people that speak with such reverence of Mike and what he's contributed to either them as individuals, them and their teams, them and their companies. Mike could scale from the early stage venture discussion to how do we change a product line at Hewlett-Packard. And I think that impact on innovation and innovation that matters to people is probably a lasting legacy that Mike Homer created here. Look, Mike, to this day, I'll tell you this, to this day, there'll be decisions I need to make. And it's only been like the last 2 years where I haven't I got to call Mike. But to this day, I still think, man, I wish I could talk to Mike Homer about that.